Hi guys, it's Boogaboo here. I'm here to show you how to play guitar wearing gloves. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm here to show you how to chop wood. Okay, if you live out in the boonies like I do, you have to learn how to chop wood. Now, I'll show you the basics. This here is a nice piece of pine. As you can see over there, I have a wood chopping block. Now you need a wood chopping block. You don't just put your block on the ground and start chopping. You should have about 1.5 foot high block to put what you're going to chop onto. Now, here I have an axe, and here I have an axe, and here I have a maul. Now when you're chopping wood blocks, you might as well throw the axe away, otherwise you're going to be chopping at it for half an hour. Now there's one thing to know about pieces of wood. When they're all together like that, they're compressed like a spring. There's a lot of pressure going in. So if you hit the piece of wood right in the middle, I'll show you. Always spread your feet apart, because if you miss, the axe will go between your legs. If you stand like this, the axe is going to hit your leg. Now, if it's a tough piece of wood and you hit it in the middle like this, nothing will happen. There is so much pressure inwards that it is almost impossible to go through the wood. So the first trick when you come to a block like that is you start chopping on the sides. I'll show you. You start chopping on the side of the block. And then what happens is now all that it's compressed like a spring. Now that opens up, it releases, the wood opens up actually. And then you just turn it a little bit and you take another chop off the side, not down the middle. It's much easier to take the wood off the side, like so. And so what you do with a tough piece of wood is you carve it like an onion, like you're peeling an onion. Another thing to remember is there are knots in wood. As you can see here, there is a knot. If there is a knot in the wood, put the knot side downwards. Because if you have the knot up top, if you put the knot up top, the wood is much stronger around here and it will not start the split. So always when you're chopping wood, put the knot side down. Okay, now what else can I tell you? Oh yes, if there are no knots in the wood at all, if it's a completely clean piece of wood, like, say, this one, I don't see any knots in it. What you do is, if you can tell, put the narrowest part of the block at the bottom and the widest part of the block up top. because the grains of wood are bigger at the wide end of the wood, and the axe will go through a lot better than if you have the narrow end. The narrow end up top, it is much tighter packed, and the maul, I called it an axe. The maul will go through much better if you put the narrow end of the block down. Now if you're going to try to hit in the middle, look for cracks. I don't know if you can see here, but there are tiny little cracks running along the wood. So what you do is you face the crack toward you. If you're going to try to go through the middle, which I don't suggest, but if you do, make sure that the crack is facing you, and then give it a shot down the middle, and it might split. One hit. Two hit. So always look for cracks in the wood, and keep the narrow end of the block of wood always down, the wide end up. Now, getting back to knots. Which one was it that had the knot in it? I believe, oh, this one here, yeah. Okay, always put the knot down, even if it's narrow up here. If there's a knot, make sure it's at the bottom. Now, as you can tell, this knot here is facing that way. Now, if the knot is facing that way, let's say, and I were to come down on the wood, I would have to chop the knot as well as the block. So never ever chop the wood with the knot going sideways to you. Always put the knot so the knot is facing you or else away from you, and then you chop alongside the knot. Do not chop sideways against the knot. So now the knot is facing me, you see, and it's much easier to go with the knot facing toward you or away from you. Now, watch what happens. Watch what happens when I put the knot. You can see the knot here. I'll put it up top. I should put it down. But watch what happens when I hit with the knot. This is the strongest part of the wood right here where the knot is. So it's going to be very difficult for the maul to get through. I'll show you. The knot is now facing that way. You see, it's almost impossible to go through a knot sideways. You have to face the knot away from you that way, and now watch what happens. Much easier. Okay. Well, those are the basics of chopping wood. Remember, a block of wood is like a compressed spring, so it's best to work around it, take little pieces off, and it releases the stress in the wood. And yeah, that's my video of how to chop wood. And now I'll show you how to play guitar wearing gloves. Okay, I'm just making these. This is episode 2. I'm making a bunch of these. My next one's going to be a cooking show, how to camp out in the, or how to cook out in the woods. But I promise you, I'll put more songs up. I haven't uploaded a song for quite a while, so I think that'll be my next step, and then I'll make my cooking video later, how to cook in a camper. Catch you guys later. Bye from me and my kitty cat.